Before I get on to the game that finished, Manchester City 4, West Ham United 1, and I do think we did a lot better than I was expecting us to do. Well, I predicted the 4-0 loss, so I guess we did do a little bit better than that. I just wanted to say massive thank you to everybody who donated to the GoFundMe fund to get the operation for Jeff the dog, who needs a life-saving operation, on his ear. Thank you so much. You lot yesterday, when I put it in yesterday's video, over £1,000 from you guys who just watched this video added to the total. It's absolutely brilliant. They're more than halfway there now. For anybody that did do it yesterday, I didn't manage to, because he does this jumping, he does this weird sort of cute jumping thing. He's about to go on for a walk. If you go and have a look, I'll put the link in the description below. Well, in case anybody wants to donate today, of course, it'd be much appreciated. But if you did donate yesterday, go and have a lock. Some videos have been uploaded. You have to do a drop-down thing on the description. You can see him jumping around and stuff like that. But honestly, can't thank you enough. I'll be honest with you, I think we're going to be able to save his life. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much indeed. It's Zippy's best mate, and well, I'm very, very grateful. What's not quite as lovely as that was the game today. As I said, I think we did a little bit better than I thought we would. I'm just looking at the stats here, just to pull it up in the order in which the goals were scored as much as anything else. We had 17 shots and they had 10. Now, I know, shots doesn't matter, right? It's all about goals. And I'm not... There are some positives. I think that's all I'm saying. There are some positives from today's game. I do want to just sort of balance that comment up by saying I'm finding it hard to get overly enthused about the positives, because I don't think they'll particularly serve us that well going forward. And let me just tell you what I mean by that. I think Niclas Füllkrug was pretty damn good today. And if I thought that we were going to press ahead with a coherent strategy where we were going to start getting the best out of this striker who clearly has some qualities, then I might be pleased about that. But I don't think we have a coherent strategy. I don't even think Niclas Füllkrug will be here next season. I'm not even sure he'll be here in February. So it's hard to get overly excited about that. I thought in the first half, Crysencio Summerville was excellent. Really, really good. But it's hard to get excited about that because I just don't think he's going to play too many games for West Ham. I'm talking about under Lopetegui is what I'm talking about at the moment. I actually thought there was quite a nice understanding, actually, on that left-hand side between Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Summerville, particularly in the first half. And West Ham were the best team in the first half, which is really weird. We'll get to the goals in a minute. But it's hard to get excited about a level of understanding between a right-back who's playing at left-back and a left-winger who doesn't really start many games. That's not really what our left side looks like. But I thought it looked good in this game. In fact, any time I've seen them, they seem to have a little bit of an understanding. I thought that was good. So ordinarily, you would take positives from that. Under normal circumstances, I would be absolutely buzzing about the performance of Lucas Paquetá. He looked, dare I say it, looked a little bit like his old self. But the realist in me knows that we're not going to see that lots and lots. Look, Paquetá had a sliding doors moment with Manchester City. He was very, very close to joining them for £80 million. And the timing, if you go and look at the timing, go and look at the stories and look how quickly after they started bidding for him that he got charged with the FA investigation for betting, it basically killed his transfer to Manchester City. I think there's very much an element of him puffing his chest out and saying, look, this is what I've got, this is what I can do. Not a case of this is what you missed out on, but almost wanting to show Man City what they could have had, something like that. I don't know. I think there was a lot of that. I think he really turned up today. And what made it more frustrating was we've not seen that player for quite some time. And he was on a different level to anything he's been recently. So that's a positive, right? But I just don't think we're going to see that much of it. All the positives that I took, I don't think bode particularly well for the future. OK, Souček as captain, fair play. But is that really any surprise? I think Souček you can take. Souček just really played like Souček. Apart from when he was on the left wing and he put in a lovely left-footed cross for Füllkrug to score. Weird, eh? Yeah, that actually did happen, just in case you haven't seen it. I think I'm not massively disappointed with the loss because I expected to lose, as I said at the start of the video. But other positives, there aren't too many, truth be known. There aren't too many more after that. But that's quite a lot for a game against Manchester City. I just do feel that we're sort of in a waiting room at the moment at West Ham. We're sort of waiting for... When I did the build-up with Gio, somebody posted up a comment, and we did the build-up show, and they asked, what do you think it would take for Lopetegui to get sacked? And I said, I think it might be 8 or 9-0. And then Gio was joking, and we were having a bit of a laugh before the game, and Gio said, now you got me thinking, if we're 8-0 down, maybe I might be hoping for it to be 9-0, so as Lopetegui gets the sack. And I feel that there was enough promise in that game against Man City for Lopetegui not to get sacked. He won't be dismissed after today. Now, listen, if in some miracle I upload this, and then at the point I've uploaded, then Lopetegui gets sacked tonight, and I'm wrong, I'll be more than happy to be wrong, and I'll be back with another video, and there'll be no shame on my part at all. I'm saying, well, I got that wrong, I just didn't expect it. Lopetegui is not going to get sacked after that tonight, because I think, was it a close game? No, but I think our performance, here's the weird thing, that was one of our better performances this season, and I think that says everything. A 4-1 loss is one of our... It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Is one of our best performances this season. I don't think Man City were amazing. I don't think any one of their players put in a world-class performance. You might say, look, Haaland's finish, his dinked finish was really good. But I think it's hard to call that anything had a world-class performance from Manchester City. Their opening goal was a deflected goal. But Vladimir Coufal was obviously playing at right back because Emerson was got an injury in the warm up. I think it might have been a warm up, or maybe getting off the coach or something like that. So that's why he didn't start, but he was chosen for the starting lineup. That's why it's hard for me to get excited about our left hand side, because if Bowen wasn't injured and Emerson wasn't injured, that wouldn't have been our left hand side. So, and it wouldn't have functioned. It functioned for a bit because the understudies were in there in many respects. Coufal was unlucky to get the deflection for the opening goal, I have to say. I thought Todibo did well enough heading the ball out. And I think what there was some miscommunication between Alvarez, because Alvarez sort of ducked away from a header. So I don't know if someone else called for it. You'll never know. It's so hard to look at that without having the audio on and around the players. I don't know. There was, at best, miscommunication. Then Savino did the shot. It got a deflection off of Coufal, an own goal. It's no one's fault, not Areola's fault, not really Coufal's fault. That being said, Coufal really did get turned inside out for, it was their second, wasn't it, which was at the end of the first half. Same player, but a Brazilian twisting and turning. Honestly, really did. Really did him badly, really. Beat Coufal. Looped sort of cross over to the far post, and it didn't take much. And I thought Kilman and Todibo had been okay up until then, but Kilman sort of lost Haaland, and that was that. He headed it in, and yeah, I thought we were a better team, and we went in at 2-0 down. Half time, they came. What? Oh, that was it. Yeah, okay. So I think what happened was Mavropanos. Todibo was substituted, had a little knock. He'd done well. He'd done a sort of like improvised back heel clearance, which I think he might have injured himself during the process. Mavropanos came on, and then Man City had an attack, and Mavropanos just backed off more than he needed to. And I don't think Kilman covered himself in glory here either. He sort of outsmarted, outpaced, and outmuscled a little bit by Erling Haaland, who then outskilled him by doing a little dinked finish, which I thought was a really neat finish again. What was that? Yeah, so that was 3. I was 3-0 at that point. 5-0 Phil Foden. Well, that was Mohamed Kudus, which brings me on to have a little chat about Mohamed Kudus, actually, because he basically gave the ball away. We were trying to play the ball out of defence. He gave the ball away, and Foden ended up scoring. There was a little deflection along the way in terms of the passing, but basically Kudus's pass was deflected. But it was all too easy. It was an easy goal. We can't defend, and at that point, I was actually writing down notes for this video. I was like, can't defend, can't score, but we did go on and score. Kudus started on the right hand side we started quite brightly, particularly because Paquetá and Summerville in particular were absolutely buzzing at the start of the game. There were a number of occasions where Kudus, particularly early on, got free, and it's just like he'd almost decided he wanted to score the winner, and he just wasn't giving the ball to people that were in better positions. And I don't feel he ever really recovered from that. I think if you'd have looked after the first 9 minutes of that game, I say 9 minutes because City scored after 10, you would have probably said, look, Kudus is going to go on and be the best player for West Ham in this game. But it never really happened after that. And in the end, he ended up he was substituted, and rightly so. West Ham weren't as good in the second half, it has to be said. Summerville, who was so good and featured so much in the first half, didn't really feature that much in the second half up until Füllkrug, who set him up. Was that the chest? I think he banged it, like past it with his chest. He got some impressive qualities, Füllkrug. It has to be said. It is a shame that... I think it's a shame, for starters, it's a shame that he's got injured so early in his West Ham career. Also, I think it's a bit of a shame where he's not perhaps playing in a system or under somebody where he's going to get more people in support of him. That being said, we had 17 shots today, so there were things to take away from that. But as I said, I just feel it's... Whilst we could ordinarily against Man City, you create that many chances at the Etihad, I do think this is a Man City in a sort of state of recovery, if you want, and on the cusp of needing a rebuild. They're a little bit fragile, Man City, and even despite us playing pretty much as well as we've played in quite some time, they still beat us 4-1. I don't take much from this and think... I still think Fulham will cause us a lot of problems, and I think possibly even Crystal Palace could cause us problems as well. I'm not even saying we lose both of those games. I just think we are where we are. You know, we're 13th, and I think whilst I've been quite sure that we'll finish 14th, as I've mentioned on a few occasions, I think 13th, 14th, 15th, maybe Palace pip us for 15th. That's where we are, and that's why it's hard for me to be overly enthused about any of the positives seen today, because we've lost 4-1, and I think that's the weird thing. I'm not overly hopeful for the future, the immediate future of West Ham, but I am also not overly offended with the performance that I've just seen. And it just shows how much lower the expectation has got. That I'm not happy. I don't say in the comments, oh, so you're happy with 4-1 loss. I'm not. But I do think that was in our top 5 performances that we've seen this season, and we still lost 4-1. And I think that's how much lower my own expectations have become because of the performance of the team this season. Not very good, is it? But anyway, yeah, there you go. But it's weird, honestly weird. Look, I guess in many respects, even look, we were crap last season. Let's make that absolutely right. And I'm pleased that a lot of the commentators and a lot of the pundits are actually quoting last season's figures, and they are, because it was a record goals conceded in the West Ham's Premier League history last season. And David Moyes put a calendar year in, which is a bit of Moyes and a bit of Lopetegui, and it's our worst defensive calendar year since 1967. So I'm glad people are actually, sort of looking at it and looking at how bad it's been and how bad it is. I've lost my train of thought there, but there you go. Not particularly good. It's just really, really hard when you go into these games and it's going to be really difficult to keep any teams out. And even, in fact, I do wonder, maybe someone go and look at the stats, I do wonder if that is the least shots someone has had against us for a little while. I wonder if everybody else... Certainly Wolves did, certainly Bournemouth did, certainly Southampton did. I think that's a weird one, isn't it? But they had 10 shots, got 7 on target, Man City, so a certain level of efficiency. But was all right. Was was all right. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, listen, it wasn't all right. It was bloody awful. But anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thanks everybody that donated to the link is in the description below if anyone else wants to donate. to Jeff, the dog, who's going to keep on jumping. Just can't thank you enough, honestly. And that has, in the space of 24 hours, that has flipped around, and it's all credit to you guys. It really is. I'll catch up with you later.